So I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now. I called it. Of course, I'm referring to the negative and defamatory coverage surrounding Sarah Jane Comrie, the woman that was at the center of the City Bike Karen incident. The negative and defamatory coverage of her, I predicted, was going to result in lawsuits, and it's official like a referee's whistle. Comrie's lawyer has come out with a statement emphasizing that they are going to be filing defamation suits against media outlets and personalities, so on and so forth, that defamed Comrie in their mishandling and inappropriate overall coverage of the city bike incident. My name's Greg Hoyt, and we're going to go ahead and dive into the media circus that surrounded this city bike Karen narrative, as well as the forthcoming defamation lawsuits, as mentioned by your attorney, here on The Breakdown.
And I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe. And I get more ass than a toilet seat. 3 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. I met a bad bitch last night in the D. Let me tell you how I made a...
Listen, I'm not one to toot my own horn, but I can't help it. I freaking called it. I knew with the way the media and certain individuals, how they were handling the defamatory, crafted narrative around Sarah Jane Comrie, I knew that it was inevitably going to lead to some defamation lawsuits, because too much has happened with regard to the inappropriate handling of this conjured narrative. I mean, Comrie's name was dragged through the mud over the past few days through online platforms like Twitter and Facebook, and even in the mainstream media with various outlets, dropping coverage that framed Comrie as a villain and other people alleging that she's a Karen and a racist and so on and so forth. Which, if you guys saw my last video, one person in particular, a woman by the name of Judge, was arguably the biggest offender of crafting and spreading a defamatory narrative about Sarah Jane Comrie. And just as I predicted in my past video, it looks like the walls are closing in on people like Monique Judge and others that, kind of ran a little bit too quick with that racist Karen stealing a bike from a young black man narrative. Comrie's attorney made an appearance on Fox News on May 19th, where the attorney confirmed that defamation suits are in the pipeline right now because too much harm was suffered, not only to Comrie's reputation, but her job was adversely impacted.
When are you going to get an answer, sir?
We are going to get an answer when we start filing defamation lawsuits.
Wow. It's going to go to that? You
well,
feel that
the
your
media
client's been defamed?
Without question. She's been called a racist. She's been called a thief. There are reasons defamation laws exist, and we plan to pursue that.
Now, one thing I would like to point out with respect to the comments made by Comrie's attorney is the mentioning of, her being labeled a Karen or a racist. As infuriating as that might be, those types of insults, those types of lobbed accusations by themselves, accusing someone of being racist, accusing of someone, being a Karen, those are usually protected opinions. Yes, it might be grossly offensive. It might be irresponsible to do that, to drag somebody's name through the media and through reports and through social media. Yes, it might be rude, irresponsible, but those insults alone usually don't meet the bar for defamation because usually those fall under protected opinion. However, when you take those labels in conjunction with reporting that push forward false statements of fact, now you've got a serious case of defamation, which, if you saw on some of the news reports, particularly the one that was written and disseminated by Judge, the one that asserted that she tried to steal the bike from the black teens, that's a false statement of fact, as you are attributing physical actions and intent to an individual. You're not saying, so-and-so allegedly did something, or they might have done something, or it appears that they've done something. Although I will also emphasize that, prefacing things with like allegedly, possibly, so on and so forth, that's not always going to be a get out of jail free card anyway. But still, attributing a false statement of fact, saying somebody did something or had the motivation to do something when they weren't doing that thing, yeah, that's defamation. And Comrie is, not to say anything insulting about her, she's basically a nobody. She's not a public figure, and she's certainly not a limited purpose public figure, because based upon what transpired in the original video and the additional context brought forth with the receipts that she showed, it looks like she was the victim of a potential, strong arm robbery or a bullying incident, however you want to look at it, I should say. So being a victim in that context and having that interaction caught on camera doesn't rise to the level of someone being a public figure or limited purpose public figure. So therefore, to reach the bar of defamation against just Joe Citizen, it's not that high of a bar to achieve. So these news outlets could find themselves in serious trouble. Well, at least through the civil courts. But the civil courts, they can impose some hefty fines. And I would not be the least bit surprised if the attorney representing Comrie is going to go for a big number, especially if going after media outlets or those who have large platforms that were key in distributing and disseminating the false narrative surrounding Comrie. Because as Comrie's attorney pointed out in a statement to Fox News, the damage is already done. And that's not even taking into consideration the still ongoing effects, because believe it or not, even with all the information out there now regarding the incident, you still have people who are trying to paint this Comrie character as a terrible person, trying to get black kids harmed, so on and so forth. Just, you have people still running with that narrative, still trying to promulgate that nonsense. And Comrie is still getting harassed and getting death threats and things of that nature, because that was made mention of in a GoFundMe that was started by Comrie's uncle, which, as of this filming, the GoFundMe has already exceeded over $50,000, which the GoFundMe is meant to tackle the legal bills that are, accumulating for Comrie's defense. Again, so that money, that GoFundMe, is going to fund the lawsuits that are going to tear down the media personalities and media establishments that slandered this woman's name. I've got to say, while there are a lot of GoFundMes and Give Send Goes that are a grift, I'd say this is a pretty solid one to donate to, especially if you want to see the people that she's going after get torn down. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much a long and short of it. Go ahead and share your thoughts on the matter in the comment section below. Whether you think there is a strong case for a series of defamation suits to go around in the media, or whether you think that the case that Comrie has just isn't quite up to snuff. Whatever your thoughts are, drop it in the comments section. Anyways, guys, that was the breakdown. Peace.
Hey, this is Greg Hoyt from The Breakdown. If you're new here and checking out the channel on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter @GregHoytLET.